The judiciary is the third branch or arm of any government. Its existence or establishment is to separate the three major functions of a government to uphold justice and equality for all. It is done through the administrations of justice through courts. Judiciary is a branch of government that is concerned with the administrations of justice. It upholds law and order by ensuring that all are equally treated before the law. It is composed of a government of judges in a constitutional system and is always separate from the other two branches of government to guarantee the judicial qualities of objectivity and determinants. In a democratic as well as an Islamic political system, the independence of judiciary is regarded as essential prerequisite of a just and free society. In Malaysia, judiciary has its unique background of a given constitutional structure, part of which is rooted in history. Some of the existing courts in Malaysia has its roots in the
The next point is definition independence of judiciary. In a liberal republican democracy, the establishment and protection of political rights, civil liberty, and the rule of law are all functions that benefit from independent judicial. As a direct consequence of this, there should be a balance between three different pair of components. The first pair of components should be utility and efficiency. In order to accomplish this goal, the judicial system must be beneficial to the community and effective in everything it does. For their system to be useful, it must effectively punish criminals, protect civil freedoms, and resolve conflict in an equitable manner. The next pair of components are the insulation and the accountability measure. In light of this, it is imperative that the judicial branch be insulated from the political maneuvering of other bodies, specifically the president, the legislature, and the political party. It should also be free from the influence of any social or economic force. The final two components, authority and restraint, will complete the equation. This combination of elements is related with the power of the court. It is necessary for court to possess both judicial authority and the competence to implement the decision and order they issue. Incorporating judicial authority in an appropriate and adequate manner really stabilize the system as a whole and give the impression of making other institutions more solid.
On September 19, 2007, there was a video that showed a senior lawyer V.K. Lingam speaking on the phone about brokering the appointment of judges in Malaysia. In response to this matter, the Malaysian Bar's governing body held an emergency meeting and decided to present a memorandum to the government requesting for a lawyer commission of inquiry about the video clip matter. Then on September 26, 2007, a group of lawyers amounting to more than 1,000 or 2,000 has gathered at the entrance of the Palace of Justice in Putrajaya, then proceed to march to the Prime Minister's office to present the Bar Council memorandum. In the memorandum that was handed to the Prime Minister consists of two matters. The first one was a letter addressed to the Prime Minister about the video clip matter, and the other memorandum was the Bar Council's paper on the setting up of an independent judicial commission, providing recommendations such as the composition of such a commission, the process to select judges, and the characteristics of candidates.
Okay, the third crisis. Young people are the one of the causes of the judicial reviews crisis that is eligible to make the right vote based on the article Benar New Malaysia. The political crisis can be resolved through election with young. um, yang vital determining the direction of the country. This is because the government can be developed by young voters who will continue the glory of the country. Awareness of about their right to determine the future of the country began to be seen when last April, because of young people between of 18 and 20 years old filed off suit seeking several causes order relate to postponing the implementation of vote 18.
In 2006, the relationship between Mahathir and Abdullah Ahmad Badawi became strained as Mahathir critiqued about Abdullah policy. This thing happened because of the event in 1918 as 3 judges were sick in the wrong way by wrong party. How the relationship between them becomes strained because Mahathir critiques him while he is the mastermind for what happened and Abdullah is trying to close the crisis. In January 2018, Mahathir one more time opened the crisis. Tun Saleh Abbas said this issue is again being talked just for the politic purpose.
The judiciary body play an effective role in protecting and defending the constitution and dispensing justice in accordance with the law. Independence in judiciary means that the judges or the body of judiciary must be free to utilize their judicial powers without having to worry about disturbance from anyone. This is because the work in a judiciary body is a job where one is responsible to protect any citizen human rights with the power of law. The profession as a judge can operate as a check upon the excessive utilization of power by the government and its agents or by any other human beings that holds an authority and parties to make sure that not a single individual will stand above the law. The independence in judiciary are based on the advocacy and judgments upon the rule of law, which is as opposed to the power or wealth of relevant interests or the temporary popularity of the decision or of the interest concerned. Both the lawyer and judges are important instruments for the protection of minority and individual rights.
Another factor is independence from the other branches of government, administrative autonomy, sufficient budget, and exclusive jurisdiction of a problem requiring resolution are all necessary components for the establishment and continued operation of an effective judicial system. It is important for lawyers to be allowed to execute their duties without interruption or fear of punishment because the legal profession is one that prides itself on independence. The law requires lawyers to act in the best interest of their client at all times and to do whatever they can to assist the judicial system in upholding the law. It is necessary that lawyers have the freedom to practice law in order for them to be able to carry out the responsibilities that are assigned to them.
One of the factors of the independence judiciary in Malaysia is prohibit the judge from carrying on practice in court of law after retirement. Judge who has the integrity, honors, and equality need to do something that do not relate with court of law after retirement. This is because it will probably cause something suspicious like they have their own agenda. Something we fear that could happen is abuse of power. This can lead to corruption, breach of trust, chaos in society, and more. This will end up with the good name of the judge being tarnished as a result of the actions of a handful of them.
Last but not least, the factors to ensure independence in judiciary is financial autonomy and administration. Financial autonomy simply refers to the judiciary's ability to determine its own internal financial affairs and manage its funds on its own. Court finding is closely related to the issue of judicial independence because it determines the conditions under which courts perform their functions. Adequate resources are required to ensure the judiciary's independence from state institutions and the private sector, allowing it to perform its duties independently with integrity and efficiently. It is the responsibility of each state to provide adequate resources to enable the judiciary to carry out its functions properly. This includes appointing a sufficient number of judges in relation to caseloads, providing the courts with necessary support staff and equipment, and providing judges with appropriate personal security, adequate training, remunerations, and emoluments. It is obvious that a state's ability to fully meet the budgetary needs of the judiciary is dependent on its economic and financial positions. There is an obvious link between court finding and court administration. Some international and regional standards state that matters of court administrations that are directly related to the exercise of judicial functions, such as the assignment of judges and the assignment of cases to judges, should primarily vest in the judiciary or a body subject to its direction and control. An external authority must not be able to intervene in matters directly and immediately related to adjudicative functions. Case allocation shall not be influenced by the wishes of a party to the case or anyone else who has an interest in the outcome of the case. Some institutional relationships with other authorities are possible, subject to the constraints imposed by judicial independence.
The next point is function of judiciary. Within our current framework for administration of justice, the judicial branch maintains the finest position. They are an essential component in upholding and protecting the Constitution, as well as dispensing justice in line with the law, which is why they play such a vital role. In modern times, those who sit on the bench in charge of interpreting the Constitution and deciding with it all means are called the judiciary. In the event that either Parliament or the Executive try to misuse their position, our formidable judicial system would step in to stop them. Moreover, a court process called judicial review is used to question decision, action, or omission by public authorities. These include minister, federal, and the state government, the Royal Malaysian Police, many commissions that control different business, tribunal, industrial court, land office, local authority, land registration, and public university. You can do a judicial review even if you only had affidavit evidence. Because of this, you won't be able to give a statement in a criminal case. Next, our judicial system protects the Constitution from being amended in any way. In particular, the Constitution grants the Parliament the authority to make changes to the Constitution, writing, wording. Many people believe that the fundamental structure of the Constitution, such as the division of power between the federal government and the state, and the separation of power between the executive branch and the legislature and the judicial branch, cannot be altered by the Parliament.
In conclusion, jurisdiction is a substantive issue in judicial independence in Malaysia. This proves that the jurisdiction provides peace. The conflict between Islamic law and civil law has been much talked about result in them never stopping from studying and writing about problem and conflict that arose in various legal issues. Among the much talked about and often a topic of discussion is the conflict that stems from the Islamization of a husband or wife in a civil marriage, that stems from the conflict between the provision of Islamic family law in the state with the law. Reform Act, the main cause of conflict is when only one party of the non-Muslims supposed convert to Islam and the other supposed remain to the non-Muslim religion. In this case, the party will be subject to different legislation and some conflicting provision between the two laws. Among the main causes of this conflict is Section 51 of the Law Reform Marriage and Dissolve Act 1976, which deal the right of divorce or marriage.